Hello everyone. I hope you are all doing fine and you're enjoying the summer or autumn wherever you are in the world and however the weather looks for you. It's very sticky and humid where I am. It's quite, I don't know, I don't know if it's a weather that reflects your mood or the mood that reflects your weather, or is everything is kind of mixed up. I wanted to talk about relationships and about how we as seeking spirituality or spiritual people, by we I mean I and how I like to see how we react and reflect others, and how our relationships and what we think about others, how it changes, I guess, depending on what level we are at. And by level I mean perhaps consciousness level, and how our awareness is also reflecting that. So what happened just now, for example, I haven't been meeting lots of people this week, and or seeing lots of people, or haven't been in a kind of social environment. And this evening we had this neighbors meeting about some management things, a building management, and there was this girl or lady who was sitting next to me, and we were all speaking up, taking our turns, and everyone was really polite and everything. And this one lady who was sitting next to me, she was speaking quite a lot, and I am always quite conscious. When I observe myself, and I think I'm aware that this happens more and more. I think maybe it's to do with meditation, maybe it's to do with also age, or the ability to reflect about my action and taking step back when I am when I am doing something and when I am in these circumstances. So I was sitting next to this lady, quite close to her, and she was literally very loudly, what I perceive as shouting in my ear, and it was physically hurting me. And when I've taken a step back in this situation, I was recognizing my feelings, and that was a feeling of anger and feeling of being that someone is doing something against my will, and someone is really violating my space, and kind of, in a way, I wanted to fight this feeling of anger off, because I wasn't angry at this lady. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to tell myself that this is just the way she speaks. She's got this tone of voice, and I was trying to not direct my anger at her. I was more trying to kind of direct it. I had to get rid of it, so I wanted to direct it outwards. And then I've noticed that I am making faces. So I was wearing my glasses, that was outside in kind of an open space, and everyone else were pretty much spaced out in like a circle. And I've noticed that I was making faces, and so kind of physically showing that I was uncomfortable, and that I was almost to the point of suffering, because when she was talking for a longer time, I was almost physically suffering, because it is a very loud noise in my ear. And yes, and when I'm think about it, how I would react before I started meditating, I guess, before I kind of came onto this path. I was obviously a different person back then. To be honest, I don't know how different it would be apart from this big awareness of myself in this situation and my reactions, and also having a more empathy towards her as well, or trying to, not turning up the volume of my anger as much as I probably would do before. And when thinking about it, kind of just let it be and accept it also. I mean, at this moment, not when I was sitting there. What I'm getting at is that I'm trying not to make it as big of a deal as my reaction was, as it was, and I am just accepting it. That's it. Doesn't matter if I was angry, too angry, not enough angry, didn't say something or said something. I'm just in a point that I am just accepting this for whatever it was. And also the feeling that usually when someone crosses my space like this, I have a feeling of dislike, just dislike. And at this moment, I didn't really have this feeling. Again, it's more of a feeling of neutrality and acceptance again. Acceptance again of my feeling, even if it's dislike for a moment, and acceptance of her space and how she is and how she expresses herself, or she was expressing herself. This acceptance piece and neutrality is very important, I think, for anything, for any of the relations that we have with people. So some people say, you know, put yourself in their shoes. For me, it wouldn't necessarily work as put myself in their shoes, because me as, let's put this label on, being an empath, I tend to really go into, or I tended to really go into someone else's shoes and like really empathize with them, to the point of not being able to kind of put a place where I started and the other person began, almost like this, which I don't think is healthy. Empathize, it means a healthy empathizing means still knows your borders, still know who you are, and kind of keep your integrity and your sanity and your happiness, but in the same time looking at this other person and seeing them and not judging them. Or, because judging someone, I think it's very natural, and it comes natural to me. I don't know if that comes natural to other people, if they even see that. We probably know a lot about biases, or maybe not. When you see a person, the natural way is make an assumption about this person, how they look, their body language, their race, their age, everything to do with this person. Within seeing this person, within, I don't know, first minute or whatever, you make an assumption about this person. So the assumption is judgment, right? Is judgment that we based on a couple of things. We don't really know this person. So that's a very natural thing. But when the awareness comes to this, and in this awareness, you obviously know yourself more than you know the other person. And also you allow these assumptions, one of the assumption be, and it's not really an assumption, it's just a law of one. It's just something that we should all live by. that no matter who this person is, as I mentioned in my other episodes, no matter who this person is a part, this person as you is a part of you, is a part of universe, and is a reflection of you. Their actions is also reflection of you, of maybe what you don't like or like about yourself. So for example, going back to this person, and not only her, in this group of people, I was observing how some people kept really quiet, and there was a group of people who were speaking up more than the others, and you know, all the other reflection of a group of people that are discussing or agreeing on something or trying to come to the conclusion. If you see a group of people who are in this kind of relationship, in this kind of dynamic, you definitely will see these people who are speaking up more and these ones who are more quiet, and where you are in it, and what simply what gets on your nerves, or what you are impatient about, or what do you love, what you really don't like, and you know, observing those people and their behaviors, which ones resonate with you and which ones totally doesn't, and this being a reflection of not those people, this being a reflection of you. So for example, myself, what I am observing is that, first of all, I am a sort of person who really like fairness. So for me, when we started our meeting and some people were a little bit late, first of all, I was kind of upset, quote unquote, about the fact that they never said I'm sorry. So this tells me that yes, this fairness and this awareness of someone else's time and of group dynamic. So that this was one thing, and the other was that the person who was kind of talking or sharing, or there wasn't really a person who was sharing, but I really wanted to summarize quickly for those people what we talked about. So this is this fairness. And I didn't do it because I didn't feel like I was in charge there. So this is another thing. So this 45 minutes of a meeting, and I'm sure you have those meetings at work and or with your clients, or I don't know, even with family, observing those feelings, observing those dynamics, observing yourself in this sort of environment is really really precious. It can tell us so much about our state of our soul. How do we recognize others? How do we react, and how it changes also, and this and helps us being aware and recognizing this awareness. And not everyone will be the same, but this is also something I was thinking about, that more and more, or maybe not more and more, but I do recognize often now, and it really always takes me by surprise, kind of, that a lot of people go through the same thing. Because when I became more, I want to say more open, or more myself, I don't know if these are good descriptions, but when I became more, let's say, open, and when I have conversations with people and I can just not help it, I don't know if that's this podcast or what it is, when I talk to people, I talk to them, often I find myself talking to them like on this podcast. So I just ask them questions, and I sometimes go deep. I just cannot help it. This is something that really interests me. And when I have a subject, when I have a person on the other side, very often it's like a Zoom call, or it doesn't have to be any kind of human interaction that kind of gives me a chance to this, and people open up and I tell them my experiences, because this is the way I like to get interactions going. So when I talk to people and I ask them questions, I can see how many people have got very similar experiences to mine, and how many people, when I tell them about my experiences, and then I tell them what I discovered when going through these experiences, what I discovered about myself and about the situation, they just kind of tell me that they feel the same. So very often I find myself thinking, oh, I thought it was only me who felt this way. I thought it was only me who is, I don't know, looking for recognition, or trying to be seen, or things like this, or going through experience with narcissists like that. My experience was really special, was really different. No, it wasn't. It was special and different for me, but it was similar to a lot of other people, a lot of other ladies, or men. I don't talk to about this that much, but I am not the only one like that. It's not only me who feels this way, and sometimes it's actually a little bit difficult for me, because I sometimes feel like a special, like different and kind of outcast, and maybe these my experience are one of the kind. They are for me, but like I said, many other people are going through very similar things. They might be on a different level of consciousness. They might be on a different level of soul travel, and how they see the world. But when I talk to them, it actually comes to the and I recognize that, even though they don't use the same language to describe that, but I can see that actually their feelings are very, very similar. So this is about just sharing those experiences, and also telling myself that my experience are not that different from all the others' experiences. It's kind of hard, because I am used to telling myself, oh, I am so different. I am so empathetic. I am, I don't know, whatever there is. But actually, when I look at people, we are so similar. Just everyone goes through it differently. And another thing I wanted to also say is about kindness. And again, I think, oh, I am so kind, I am too kind, but obviously there's lots and lots of people who are kind like this, and maybe there are people who are kind like me, and they kind of live through this kindness. And if everyone was as kind as me, even though I'm deep down, I don't feel like I am super kind. I feel that I am kind because I want to get something out of people sometimes. I know it's harsh, and I am very critical towards myself, so I'm still working on it. But usually I am kind, I am empathetic, I can empathize with people and tear up easily sometimes. So one of my quote unquote, again, as a kind of spiritual person from Instagram, I was on his live chat that he's got very often, or quite often, and there was this lady on the chat, and I don't remember what she was saying, but you can tell that she was, how to put it, she was just on her different level of consciousness. She was really, trying to kind of get through to, and obviously she was a very avid listener of the spiritual healer, so she was definitely looking for things. But it's like you are, what's the expression, looking for trees in the forest or something like this, and sometimes like you cannot find something that is just in front of you. You try and it's like your eyes are closed, almost like this, and he was trying to put this message through to her, and you could tell that he was getting very frustrated because this lady kept repeating her like a mantra. Like you could tell that she just couldn't get through. There was like a wall. She couldn't, and it was so painful to listen and to watch, because I mean, one thing that he did was he just shushed her, and even when I say that, like I can feel a kind of a pit in the bottom of my stomach, and I was just saying. And I actually posted that in the chat there, saying, please be kind to her. She's just not there yet. So I don't know. I haven't had thousands of followers. And he's probably, and not probably, he is a very strong person. And maybe when you when you are like leader like that, when you have such a big following, you have to care more about yourself, and when you believe so much that your message is so true and so important, which it is, obviously it is, then you don't have as much patience, I guess, with people, or you don't you just believe in your truth so much that when someone in front of you doesn't, and you see it so clearly, you are just, but this is blue, and the other person goes, no, this is like white to me, I cannot see through this, and then you just say, shush, I'm telling you it's blue, and that's how it is. That's how it felt. And then he said, well, obviously we cannot get into agreement. He was very polite to her, but then it was like a live, so when the live with this particular person ended, he just said, fucking hell, some people are just so stubborn, or something like that. And I just really didn't like that, and it just didn't resonate with me. And and again, it's whenever people say about don't judge people, and they are on a different level of spirituality, or a different level of different, don't want to say vibration, it's not really vibration, it's not asleep. It's not like she wasn't asleep, she was just where she was in her life. And like I said, it was very hurtful to watch, because for me it's always, I just want to shake this person and say, please wake up, but it's not that easy. And every one of us have got their own way. When I was at the maybe beginning of my path, when I was in a relation with the narcissist, Nomen Omen, who kind of, the relation and what I've experienced kind of woke me up. I don't know, maybe I would be woken up anyway. But when he was talking about some concepts, I was like, no, what do you know? I graduated, I've read millions of books, and you don't know what you're talking about. I want to read newspapers, I want to watch the news, because I want to know what's happening in the world. And I remember he was telling me, he was saying, you don't want to do that, because it just muddles with your reality, and they all, news are news, and newspapers another type of news that just really matters with how you see the world, and they are there with this type of news on purpose, you know. So I wasn't there yet, and no matter what he would do, or maybe even because I was in relationship and very much in love, but wanted to keep my own integrity. I don't know why. I was even more against it. So, and I wanted to show him that I was right also. It's just all, and now I find myself in this place, obviously 180 degrees differently, well, differently or not, but just this kind of part of that is, now I understand, but I had to get there myself. I had to listen to many other people. I had to kind of see it for myself, and not only see, I had to feel it for myself. And also many other things had to happen, like the lockdowns and everything like that. So for me it was there. And also I don't know when I'm gonna be in, you know, in next 2 years, maybe some other things that I would never think I will give my energy to or believe will start to be more clear for me. Maybe, you know, some things that people are saying now, and I'm like, oh, I don't really resonate with that. I don't know if I believe that. Maybe the leadership thing that, you know, I now see as kindness is going forward. Maybe I will see it more as a leadership kind of type of thing, and recognize that not everyone are there, and then they just need to be left where they are. And then maybe I don't share as much kindness with them. I don't know. At this moment, what resonates with me is kindness, and what resonates with me is love, and how you treat other people, especially on social media, is such a vulnerable place. So we have to be really, really careful, I think, and share this love. And I was really disappointed. And all again about being disappointed, for me it was like, how much energy do I give to whatever person on Instagram that their actions make me disappointed? Like, who are they for me? How much attachment do I give them? How much reassurance they bring me, that when they do something that I don't resonate with or I don't agree with, it brings me to like, oh, why would he do that? How could he do that? Like, who are those people? Let's say, I don't know if you call them spiritual teachers, leaders, people that I follow and then I feel really close to, and this in a way brings me to my parents, who at some point I thought they could do no wrong. And maybe the same with a partner, you know, if you give someone too much power over you and then they disappoint you, and the disappointment goes really deep, maybe perhaps it's worth looking at it as why and how I gave this person so much power when they did something that is kind of outside of what I like. It hurt me so much. And it's not, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen with your kids, with your friends. But I think the more we believe in ourselves, the more we believe in our truth, and the more we believe and have a kind of higher self-esteem and confidence, the less we are going to be hurt by things like this. So I think I still have a little bit of a way to go. And just to finish off, there is on the 8th of August, which is 8 of 8, there is a Lionsgate. So they say, you can search it up, they say there is a portal opening, and this is like an ascension portal. So by doing different sorts of rituals, By ritual, I just mean maybe doing a little bit of a place of like a sacred space somewhere on your table. I really like this idea. Putting a candle, putting your crystal, whatever you connected to, putting some flowers there, and just do a little meditation or whatever you feel like doing that is a little bit maybe special on that day or around that day. That brings you closer to the source or God or universe. Just something for yourself and something that would, would have a meaning for you. And for me, there was another portal. I don't remember the name. There is a lot of them, like all the numerology and astrology things. If you are kind of into it, I am a little bit, because for me it gives me like a guidance and puts a little bit of structure into things, which I like. But the sign that I received, I have this deck, which is like an oracle deck, and it's called Moonology. And I pulled out the card. I felt like I wanted to pull out the card, and I know what it was. It was a new moon in Leo, which happened like a week ago or so. And I sat down then with my deck, with this oracle deck, and I pulled the card, just a random card. When I pull the cards out of my oracle deck, I obviously do it intuitively. So I pulled out the card, and the card that I pulled was New Moon in Leo. So out of the deck of whatever 35 cards or 40 cards on New Moon in Leo, this is the card that I pulled. I thought that was such a clear sign, and I was so proud of myself, of my intuition, of where I was and where I am now. And this card had such a clear message for me that I put it on my table. I always have a little altar. I always have fresh flowers on my table where I work. I always have a couple of crystals there. And the message on the card is, confidence is your key to success. So confidence is your key to success is a message to all of you. I hope it resonates with you, and I think it's a great card and great message to hold. For me, definitely, I will be keeping this card in my little altar next to my candle, and I send you off with this message. Lots of love, and the confidence is your key to success. Lots of love again, and I speak to you soon. Bye bye.